Hi everyone, my name's Simone Walker and I'm one of the Deputy Secretaries here at the Department of Communities and Justice.
And I'm Joanna Quilty, CEO of the New South Wales Council of Social Service.
Thanks for joining Joanna and I today so that we can update you on any issues impacting the sector through the COVID-19. For those of you who've been following the videos, you would have noticed that Joanna has been asking me a lot of great questions that have come from the sector. And today we're going to mix it up a little bit, where I'm going to be asking some of the questions so that we can know and understand how the sector is feeling through this process and things that they might want to think about doing after the COVID-19. So Joanna, I'll start with my first question. So COVID-19 has meant that we all have had to work differently and of course collaborate closely to get the job done. So what do you think are our key learnings from the pandemic? And what might all of us, both DCJ, service providers and the broader sector, keep going or change going forward?
I think one thing that the pandemic has done, it has thrown into stark relief the fact that the sector and much of the work we do is about providing essential services. So we mightn't be as visible as, paramedics, nurses, other first responders. We mightn't wear the uniforms that they wear, but we are very much at the front line providing support during crises when people haven't got anywhere else to turn to and when they need to feel connected and supported in their communities. So I think that's a really great reminder and something that we want to hang on to. I think that the pandemic has also busted a few myths. We tend to think that change is very slow and solutions are hard to come by. And I think that what we've learned through this period is that we can actually change things up really quickly. We can move to find different ways of working in a very short space of time. And that through collaboration between the sector and the department, we can actually find solutions. So I think we want to hang on to that, absolutely. I think another thing that's come through, or one of the other myths that's been busted, is we tend to think it's an us against them kind of setup, that the department holds all of the power, that the sector really just has to go along with whatever's required. But I think this has shown that we can actually work in partnership, that we can collaborate, and that there can be much greater flexibility, that we can be seen as trusted advisors who are going to sit down and work through the issues and come up with solutions. And I think it's that much greater level of flexibility and collaboration and partnership that we really want to hang on to coming out of this. So how do we hang on to these things and ensure that they're not lost? Pretty much we need a plan. I think we've got to be able to move from being responsive and reactive to really having a plan and, a good sense of where we need to get to. And I think that plan needs to focus at 3 levels. I think we need to look at our workforce. We need to make sure that we've got the right people in the right jobs and that they're getting the support that they need, that they've got the capabilities that are required for the work, and that they're in secure, well-paid and properly supported jobs. So I do think that we need to look at the workforce in the sector very carefully. As I said, they're providing essential services. They're working with the most vulnerable in our communities. We really need to make sure they've got the skills and all of the resources and support that they need to do that important work. I think our industry plan also needs to focus on the resilience of organisations. And particularly the financial resilience. We had research coming out from Social Ventures Australia last week, which highlighted that there were significant risks in relation to financial viability going forward because of the drop-off in philanthropic and fundraising sources and also the reliance on individualised funding packages. So I think we need to understand where is the sector at in terms of financial viability and how do we shore that up? Because the last thing we want when we know demand is going to go through the roof once JobSeeker comes off and JobKeeper as well, we don't want our sector collapsing. We really need to make sure that it's in a strong position to continue to provide those vital services. And then the next level that I think the plan needs to focus on is the service system itself. how do we get that much more joined up, integrated response to people when they're in need? How do we make it easy for them to navigate the service system and get the support that they want? And that needs to start at the local level. That has to be a place-based response. We know it works well and it is happening in some areas, but it's not across the board. It's not systematised. So how do we build that into our system? So Simone, to answer your question, we absolutely need a plan. And the starting point for that plan, I think, is to do some modelling around what is going to happen to demand once JobKeeper and JobSeeker come off. Where actually the peaks, NCOSS and some of the other peaks are getting on with that job. We're doing that economic modelling, and hopefully we'll have something to share with you in coming weeks or months. But I think we also need to start by looking at that financial resilience piece. Where is the sector at? What is the financial resilience of organisations? And how do we ensure that they're viable going forward? And that's something that I think we need to do in conjunction with DCJ, be it via a survey, some kind of open book exercise or a modelling exercise. But I would really like to talk to you about getting that piece of work underway.
I think you make absolutely some great points, and I am keen to do that work, particularly about financial viability and the workforce. And I agree, I think we can put our heads together on the modelling, because we've also got FAXIAR and BOXAR looking at those pieces as well. The other myth that we've busted, I think, is that idea that collaboration has to take a massive amount of time. What we've seen is that we can actually collaborate and be really nimble. And I think that busts some of those myths around collaboration and co-design is a long drawn out process. So thank you so much for that.